Welcome, folks, to Dominant Mets Nation. Thank you so much, as always, for returning. From the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate each and every one of you. Okay, so today's actually a pretty special video. Obviously today was Doc Gooden. The day we retired Doc Gooden's number as a New York Met, and I gotta say, it was a very special occasion for a number of reasons. You know what? There was a lot of belief that, years ago, 10, 15, 20, 25 years ago, that this day would never come for a number of reasons. Number one being Doc, if he continued going down the road, obviously a good outcome was not going to happen. But Doc has shown us. He's been an example of perseverance, a guy who's been through a very rough road, and a lot of it has been his own doing. But he's at a good place in his life. He's at a good place mentally. You could see it. It was great to see him on the field with his family, obviously his friends, his teammates. It was just amazing. And then obviously seeing the 1986 members from that team always kind of brings chills, always kind of shows me where I want our current organization to end up. Because you see that if you win in New York, you are a legend forever. I mean, Doc, Darryl, those two guys, when I started following baseball, I remember my uncle telling me, Doc, Darryl, these guys are legends. These guys are, those were his favorite players. So naturally, they became my favorite players. I remember the first baseball glove I ever had was a Darryl Strawberry glove. So, those two guys specifically, even though I didn't really get a chance to watch a lot of them play in the bulk of their career, they mean a lot to me. They really do. And I'm pretty sure they mean a lot to each and every one of you. And that's the specialness of it. Mets fans, Mets organization, there's a specialness. It's like a family. And that's what I like with Steve and Alex Cohen. The current owners are doing it. They're honoring our past and they're connecting the past with the present. And that's what I love. The young fans that didn't get the chance to see Doc Gooden, Darryl Strawberry, Keith Hernandez, Ron Doring, all these guys, honoring them now is connecting, like I said, the past with the present, and it is just amazing. You always want to be in touch with your history, and that is phenomenal. That is phenomenal. Okay, back to Doc. Doc, like I said, there was belief years ago that this day would never come. Doc wasn't in a good place, but right now, Doc, being able to receive this award is just such a great feeling, and it should be a message to Mets fans because that connection to the past, what Doc was on the field, was nothing less than a phenom. Nothing less than a phenom coming up at age 19 years old. I mean, if you look at those numbers at 19 years old, I don't know any pitchers. I'm pretty sure, I don't know when Roger Clemens started and, 40, 50 years ago. I mean, he had such a phenomenal age 19-year-old season. And then obviously in the 1985, when he won 24 games, went 24 and 5 with a 1.53 earned average, almost had 300 strikeouts. I mean, the guy was a workhorse. By the age of 30, I think he had like 120 or 130 wins. He ended up with like 193 career wins. But I mean, he was set. If things went right, if he, didn't go down that road he went down, I mean, he could have been not just a Mets great, he should have been an all-time Hall of Fame great. So it's sad in that respect, but at the end of the day, everybody has different roads, and it looks like, the road that he went down led us to where we are today. We can all kind of learn from Doc and kind of, rally around people like that because, they need help. But I'm glad he's good. He's good right now. That's actually very, very good to see. I love stuff like that. Um, and another thing that a note just before I talk about our New York Mets, and I didn't get a chance to say it, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, especially if you're a passionate Major League Baseball fan, Mets fan specifically. You gotta support the channel. I appreciate it. I really do. Okay, the one thing that I did not care for that I heard from the Doc on the field press conference is Doc mentioned that after his short stint with the Yankees, 95, 96, 97, whenever that was, he contacted the Mets. And I can understand, okay, he wanted to come back to the Mets, and he said that they told him the team was full. Okay, whatever. Then he went to the Cleveland, if I remember right. After that stint, he called the Mets again. You got room for me? No, we're full. Okay, whatever. They didn't want him on the roster in the clubhouse. That's fine. The thing that I didn't really understand was when he wanted to end his career and he wanted a one-day contract. You're talking about an all-time Mets legend, 1986 world champion, and he asked to retire as a Mets to sign that one-day contract, and the Mets said no. To me, it's hard for me to kind of see the rationale and to forgive that. It seems like Doc is in a forgiving place right now, and I give him all the credit in the world, but I don't know if I would ever forgive that because I don't see really the rationale. I really don't. I really, really don't. Especially if you want to connect that past. I just can't make that. That's the one thing I really, really had a problem with that I heard from Doc, and I'm glad he mentioned that. I'm really glad he mentioned that. I mean, people could say, "Hey, you know what? Hey, it might have been petty for him to mention that," but no, I like that. I like that. Make everything out and open. And it seemed like the reason why he did mention that is because I could tell he probably struggled with that a lot. He probably did. If New York was near and dear to his heart and he couldn't come back to where it was, where he felt that he needed to be or wanted to be, or he considered this his home. And I don't know. I just, like I said, if you want to drop a comment and you want to give me some rationale why he couldn't sign a one-day contract for a Mets legend to retire as a Met, I can't think of it. I can't think of it. Okay, on to the New York Mets, and I apologize. It's been a little rough for me. I'm trying in the beginning of the season. I tried contacting and working with I have a full-time job, working with my schedule and trying to build it around the first week or so. I was able to do that. We had the double header, which was kind of tough. I had to work that day. But the last couple of days have been kind of rough. I've said to some of you all, I have a little bit of a wacky schedule. Sometimes I'm working late, sometimes I'm working early, but nonetheless, I couldn't really catch the games like I really wanted to. But nonetheless, the important part is where are we going and what has really occurred. Okay, so we've matched up against four teams thus far. Four very, I would say, good teams. Or maybe 4 or 5 teams. We played a couple series. Every one of those teams has been over a 500, at least 3 games over 500. The Brewers are 10-4. The Reds are 9-6. The Braves are 9-5. And then going over to the Royals now are 10-6. So we played every single series we played against a team that was over 500. So we have, after starting out 0-5, our last 10, we are 7-3. Not only are we 7-3, we are playing with fire, fight. If we're down, we're able to come back. I see a lot difference of play on the field. I see the guys playing differently. You weren't seeing that the first 5 games. And you know what? Maybe we just had a rough time getting out of the box. Some teams start off like that. And, I see a lot of good things that I'm extremely excited about. Like just today, Jose Budo. And Jose Budo is a guy that I've always really been high on. This year, particularly coming out of spring, his stuff has become more electric. He's had more movement on certain pitches. And I'm really excited about a guy like that. He's not a guy that a lot of people penciled in like, oh, Jose Budo, he's going to be our number 5, number 6 starter. Maybe you heard about Christian Scott, Mike Vassell, but this is another young pitcher, 26 years old, that has a very, I would say, high ceiling, whether he's in the bullpen or the rotation, another arm. So the performance today, you can't say anything bad about it. You really can't. He really held the Mets in the game. Today was a bit of a pitcher's duel, and fitting that it was Doc Gooden day. The final line on Budo was 6 innings, 9 strikeouts. So I really got to clap my hands for the guy. The last two starts, I see a lot of potential. And they asked Mendoza about it. So does Budo have the spot until Senga comes back? And Mendoza, rightfully so, says, yes, the guy has deserved it. From spring training to now, the guy deserves it. And that's what I like with this team right now. I really like the guys who are playing and deserve the playing time are getting the time, and the pitchers or players who aren't cutting it are gone. Johan Ramirez, gone. Julio Teheran, 2 or 3 innings, gone. We are not wasting our time with players who have no productivity or have not shown any productivity. That's what I like. Quick, uh, concise decisions. If it's going to be a short stay with the Mets, so be it. So be it. We have the next guy up mentality. Stearns built the depth for a reason because we're not going to waste time on assets or non-assets that bring no value to the ball club. And that mentality pushes each and every player to try to get better and better. There's going to be no complacency on this team because there's a guy behind you that is going to push you for your position. Now, I like the way, obviously, our offense is playing. JD Martinez, with all due respect, take all the time you need, and that what a difference a week and a half makes because we were begging the guy like, oh my God, he needs more time. His back is sore. JD, take all the time you need. It is fine. I like the way the offense looks. Even Lindor had a couple hits today. So, I'm excited about that. Manaya, I wouldn't get too worried about. I know he had a poor pitching performance yesterday, but, that's par for the course. It is extremely par for the course, and it happens. Luis Severino, first game of the year, he had his bad game, and he's had a couple good starts after that. So in a long baseball season, cooler heads have to prevail. And at the end of the day, where is the team going? How does the team look? Is the starting pitching? How's the starting pitching rounding off? And without, Senga, we are looking pretty decent. We're looking a lot stronger than I thought. A lot stronger than I thought. Like I said, Severino's looking decent. Katana's looking decent. Manaya has one bad game. Budo looks like he's going to take that spot in the rotation that we've been trying to fill. So you really have to feel good. And Adrian Hauser, I think, is going to be your fifth starter. He's going to be a fifth, sixth starter. So, but he's a guy that I think is going to have to be productive too. So, and also I believe he's going to eat innings. He's going to be effective eating innings. The bullpen's where we're going to be bringing up guys. We're going to have the solid three guys, obviously Raley, Ottavino, and Diaz. Drew Smith, he's hit or miss. But the next couple of spots, after Diekman, I got to say, you're going to have two or three guys always kind of rotating. If Cole Susser has thrown a lot of pitchers, we'll send him down to the minors. We'll bring up a fresh arm. I think that's what Stearns is going to do to keep the bullpen fresh. It's also going to put pressure on the guys to be productive. And that's what I like. I like the culture that I see right now. I do like the culture and seeing the champions on the field, the 1986 team. I want more of this. I know we're going to have Darryl Strawberry. We're going to honor him soon. I love it. Comment. How do you guys feel about that? How do you feel about honoring the past legends, associating the past players with the current players? I love stuff like that. I know the next guy that I can't wait for us to retire his number is probably David Wright. I'm going to be really looking forward to that. I'm in Florida. I mean, I would love to see if I can get up for that. That would be amazing. The last game that I went to was not game that I went to, but last player that they retired that I had to be there was Mike Piazza. That was a very emotional day, in the crowd and stuff like that. That was crazy. But I just love stuff like that. I really do. It brings the connection with the fans. It builds a stronger bond, in my opinion. Okay, so right now the Mets are 6-7. We are 6-7. Standings wise, I'm sorry, what am I 6-7? We're 7-8. Look at this. Don't watch a couple games and I forget the standing. So we are 7-8. We're still 2.5 games behind the Braves. The Phillies are 8-8, so we're a half game behind the Phillies. It looks like that there's a lot of parity in the major leagues right now. There really are. Like, you have the best record in the National League. The Dodgers, well, win percentage wise, you have the Brewers. The Brewers, the team that we played first, the team that killed us, the team that David Stearns built before he left, is 10-4 with a 714 winning percentage. So they, winning percentage wise, have the best record in baseball. Then you have the Pirates, who we're going to be playing. They're 11-5. Then you have the Dodgers 11-6. D-backs 8-8. Cubs 9-6. Reds 9-6. You just have a lot of teams at 500 or better. Braves 9-5. Phillies 8-8. So it looks like the Mets are going to have an opportunity. It's not like there's one or two teams or three or four teams that are dominating. You have a lot of teams that are really on the level of the Mets. The Mets are either on their level or better. So the Mets really have a chance to do damage this year. So I'm excited. I'm excited. This year, you're going to see a lot of reiterations of the team. We already see our young kids, the next generation, Brett Beatty, Francisco Alvarez. You have Christian Scott down in the minor leagues, striking out like 10 batters in his last performance. So this is going to be an exciting year. That's what I'm trying to say. It's going to be an exciting year. Let me know how are you liking the season, because I saw on the recent comments that a lot of people are surprised by where the Mets are. I'm a bit surprised myself. And like I just went over, every single team that we faced has been at least 3 games over 500. So it's not like we've played any scrubby teams thus far. So that's another thing that I like. And obviously the Atlanta Braves, that I didn't get a chance to comment on that series. That is such really a game changer, such a huge game changer to play the Braves early in the season and to make that statement early on. Like, you're not going to stomp on us. This is not going to be that same Mets team from 2022, 2023. We are going to be a tough opponent. We are going to hit. We're gonna hit. We went into that series as the worst offensive team in baseball, and we literally outslugged them. The Kansas City Royals, they came into this series on a 7-game winning streak. Right off the bat, we beat them on Friday night, and we took 2 out of 3. So we're taking, I believe this is the 3rd series we won in a row. So keep winning series, piling series on. At the end of the day, we're going to have a very decent record, and we're going to be in a very good position to do damage at the end of the year. So, and we have reinforcements on their way. Senga, and this is a good thing with Senga, because we know he can't really pitch much more than 150 innings anyway. I'd rather him miss games in April and May, have us tread water, and have him towards the stretch. I mean, that makes all the sense in the world, in my opinion. And then JD Martinez, we're going to have reinforcements in the lineup. Then throughout the year, we're going to have reinforcements from our guys in the minor league. So we are in such a good position at the trade deadline, when it's not going to be like past years. It's not going to be like, oh, the desperate Mets, they have an old aging rotation. They can give up their young prospects because they have a lot on the line this year. No, we put ourselves in a position where Stern's like, hey, if you don't want to make a trade, that's fine. We are set. I got about 10 guys in my minor league. So we put ourselves in a position to acquire talent at reasonable prices. If Team C, they see what type of position. Last year with Billy Epler and in years past, we were in a desperate situation, and teams will certainly take advantage of that. All right, I apologize. This was a very long-winded video. I just haven't spoken to you guys in a long time. And again, I want to thank every one of you. I appreciate all the commentary. Robbie, Hobby Landreth, Johnny. The list goes on and on. Jose. Really, like, everybody who's contributed to the channel. All the top contributors. Please, keep it coming. I really enjoy reading your commentary. You teach me a lot. You give me a lot of good feedback, so I do appreciate that. And if you ever think of any good ideas and you want to run it by me, let me know. I do enjoy reading that as well. So again, if you haven't liked and subscribed to the channel, here's another good opportunity. And if you've listened to this far in the video, you are the best. I can't say thank you enough, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Have a great night, enjoy. And the Mets are doing very well. We gotta feel good. We gotta feel positive. So that's great. That's great.